Okay, thank you. Just a quick run through about Empire Metals and the Pitfield projects. We're a titanium project. It's located in Western Australia. One of the most important things about Pitfield, it's I regard as one of the geological wonders of the world. It is the largest known titanium discovery. Middle of last year, we put out an exploration target that was close to around about 30 billion tonnes of ore and contained about 1.5 billion tonnes of titanium dioxide. That represents about 1/3 of the entire world's resource. And the remarkable thing at the time was that that particular exploration target was only 1/5 of the surface area that we had discovered at Pitfield. So there's a huge potential to increase the resource. Yesterday, we released our maiden mineral resource estimate for Pitfield. It was a 2.2 billion tonne indicated and inferred resource, contains 113 million tonnes of titanium dioxide. So it really does set this project up as the largest resource now in the globe. And funny enough, it's hidden in plain sight. This project was actually discovered only about 30 months ago in basically the wheat belt part of Western Australia. So we're very close to infrastructure. We have excellent access to port by rail. It's a remarkable area to be operating in, has great advantages for us. The extraordinary thing also about the ore body is its purity. The way that the titanium metals formed initially in the ground has meant that there are no really deleterious contaminants that come through with the product that we can make from the ore body. So as a consequence, we've been able to rapidly advance the processing technology, and recently we announced that we were able to get to a 99% pure titanium product. So far the project is delivering, a lot of opportunity and upside. What I want to highlight here is titanium is an incredibly important metal going forward. It's one of the metals that actually the world needs. So its strength, it's non-toxic, it doesn't corrode, has multiple applications in aerospace, medicine, and one of the critical things about the titanium metal industry now is the supply chain is under significant disruption. The other aspect of product that comes out of titanium, of course, is pigments. And there's no substitution for a titanium dioxide pigment. It's the whitest, the brightest of them all. One of the things that really stands out about the titanium industry is its size. I mean, it's a $24 billion market. It's growing steadily at about just under 5%, close to 4% overall, but the metal is climbing at about 7 to 10% per annum. The market is in disruption. The sanctions that occurred in Russia, who were one of the major suppliers of titanium metal, the tariffs have been placed on the Chinese supply more recently. So people are desperately seeking reliable Western supply. Why is this the next alternative, the best alternative that is coming into the market? Well, I talked about its size. There's nothing bigger on the planet. So this is a resource that is at surface, it's easy to mine, and has distinct advantages over many of the existing competitors. I mentioned the high purity of our product. The high purity comes from the fact that in the ground we do not have any of these contaminants that affect, for instance, the ilmenite, the beach sand industries. And that's a really important factor to think about. 95% of the world's supply chain comes from ilmenites, predominantly beach sands or hard rock. So the processing is expensive, it's polluting, and it affects really the economics of the Western supply chain. I mentioned location. So we have access already to low-cost energy. We're located right in the middle of an area which has WA's largest wind farms, solar. There's a gas pipeline running 30 kilometres to our west. We have access to existing rail infrastructure to a deep water port. So effectively, all the infrastructure that we would need to build a new project is already in place. I mentioned many times now the purity of the product, the purity of the ore. So that simplifies our processing route. So unlike ilmenites, which need to be smelted or need to be treated at high temperature acid under pressure or treated with chlorine gas, our processing route is much simpler. We have soft friable ore at surface, high-grade targets that we can scrub, separate out the minerals. The minerals respond very well to flotation, and we make our own concentrates that are easily digestible. It's a completely different alternative, a much better alternative to the majority of the supply chain. Going forward, okay, we've just released our maiden MRE, but we will go back and complete some further drilling. The intention is to go back to one of our targets, Cosgrove, and to complete drilling that target. The idea there is that we will probably end up with a choice of initial mining sites. Both of these targets represent multiple generations of mine life. I'm not talking about 20 years or 40 years. I'm talking about several hundred years of supply. So this is a key part of our strategy to prove that we will be a multi-generational mine. The processing steps that we've been going through have been developing a simple processing, conventional processing route to final product. We've made a 99% pure pigment already. So the idea now is to advance that quickly into the piloting stage. So early next year, we'll be completing continuous piloting of the process and starting to promote the products that we can make from this project, take that out to the market, start talking to the end consumers. One of the key things that we also have started is our environmental, our social, and our engineering studies. So we're trying to get ahead of the game. I would anticipate over the next 6 to 12 months that we will be coming back to the market with announcements relating to the development of a feasibility study, moving towards, obviously, the commercialisation. We've had a particularly successful year. We're listed on the alternative investment market in London, and we are one of the few well-performing stocks on that particular market. So we've had some significant support from our shareholder base recently. Very pleased to see that. We also have now assembled a board of some quality. Most recent board member joined us, Phil Brummett. He was one of the chief mining engineers within Newmont and Freeport. And our chairman, non-executive chairman, Dr. Neil O'Brien, was the senior VP of exploration for London Mining. So we have a very capable, strong technical board. So looking ahead, given the strategic importance, I think, that Pitfield represents, as I mentioned, this is a disrupted market. The supply chains for titanium are no longer secured for the Western world. The ilmenite producers are suffering due to high costs. They can't compete commercially against the Chinese supply. Pitfield represents an alternative, a much better alternative to the traditional beach sand mineral producers. It's incredibly large scale, high grade, it's got continuity, there's no waste, there's no overburden, free digging. We have effectively produced a pigment quality product. We can get to a metal feedstock with very minor alterations to our flow sheet. We're in a tier 1 mining jurisdiction, and I don't think there's been a better time for people who want to take the opportunity to invest in this particular type of industry to come in now and look at Empire. The risk reward is clearly there for all to see. So on that particular note, I thank you for your time.